In this tutorial, we'll answer 3 questions. What is LTM? What is the difference between LTM and NTM? How is LTM calculated using Excel and DAX formulas in Power Pivot? LTM analysis is a technique used to evaluate a company's financial performance over the last 12 months. LTM is an acronym for last 12 months, and it is also known as TTM, trailing 12 months. Investors and analysts often use LTM in the valuation of companies to estimate the current value of a company based on its financial performance over the most recent 12 months. What is the difference between LTM and NTM? LTM and NTM are both financial analysis techniques used to evaluate a company's performance, but they differ in the time frame they focus on. LTM looks at the past 12 months and provides a snapshot of the company's most recent financial performance. On the other hand, NTM looks at a company's projected financial performance over the next 12 months. NTM analysis is mainly used for forecasting and strategic planning. So, how is LTM calculated? If you have access to full monthly data, you can simply aggregate the last 12 months. For example, to calculate LTM revenue, simply add the most recent 12 months revenue data. If you have access to quarterly data, you can simply add the last 4 quarters. In the example I'll be showing you shortly, I have monthly sales and profit data from January 2021 to November 2022. Let's calculate LTM using Excel and DAX formulas. Please subscribe if you haven't, and don't forget to click the like button. Thank you. This table shows sales and profit data, and cell B2 to B4 are the inputs to be used in the formulas. The function to be used here is the EO month function, which returns the last day of a given month. I'm going to break the formula down for ease of understanding. So insert 3 columns: start, end, and LTM. To get the start date, type EO month. The first argument is the start date, and that should be the latest date in the data. So I'll use the mark function to return the latest date in the date column. Okay. Next argument is the number of months. A positive number returns future month, while a negative number returns past month. I want to go 12 months before the maximum date. So this will be minus 12 in cell B2. Press F4 to lock, close the bracket, and enter. These numbers are dates. So highlight and press Shift Ctrl 3 to format as date. Cool. So this is 12 months before the maximum date in this data. And you need to add 1. So it starts exactly at the beginning of the following month. That way we get the full 12 months. Press F4 to lock that and enter. Cool. Let's move to the next column. I'll use EO month for this as well. Start date is the maximum date in the date column. Select. And the number of months to move is 0. So press F4 to lock. So this way it returns the last day of the month for the maximum date. I'll format that as well. The next step is to use the AND function to check if the date falls within the last 12 months. The AND function returns true when all the conditions evaluate as true. Now check, is the date greater than or equal to the start date? Second condition, is the date less than or equal to the end date? Enter. The formula has returned true where it falls within the past 12 months of the maximum date. If I change the period to 5, it updates automatically. So you can use it for any length of period. I'll undo that. The next step is to insert a pivot table. The shortcut is Alt-NVT. Place in the existing worksheet. Now, someone asked recently why my fields pane look different from the default one, and it's because I changed the setting. You can just click on the wheel icon here and select the view that works best for you. So now drag year month to rows, and sales to values. Right click to format that. Now change the name to dollar sales. Cool. Now drag LTM to filters and select true. Now you have the sales value for the last 12 months. To calculate the margin, you need to insert a calculated field. So go to the Analyze tab, Fields, Items, and Set, and click Calculated Fields. Type the name, margin, and then hit the Tab key to move to the formula box. Margin equals profit. Double click to select it, divided by sales. Click OK. Now edit the name to percentage margin and format as percentage. Cool. Now we can insert a chart. Go to the Insert tab and insert a pivot combo chart. A preview of the chart is displayed here. Sales should be a clustered column chart and margin should be a line chart on the secondary axis. So check this box. The preview looks good, so click OK. Next step is to format the chart, okay? Right click to hide the buttons, delete the grid lines, add a chart title, and move the legend to the bottom. Now press Ctrl 1 to bring up the format pane, adjust the width, and make the line a smooth one. Now we can format the axis as well. Make it thousands and just clean that up a little and add a title. Last 12 months or LTM month, whatever works for you. Now the chart looks good and you can add new information and easily refresh this data. I have the data for December right here. I'll just copy and paste. And now right click, click refresh, and the chart updates automatically. If the period changes as well, all you just have to do is click the refresh button and you're good to go. Now, let's take a look at DAX formulas. Table 1 shows sales and profit data, and Table 2 shows the variable. That is the number of months to be used for the LTM calculation. Now, the first step is to add the tables to the data model. So go to the Power Pivot tab and click Add to Data Model. Back to Excel and add the LTM table as well. To calculate the LTM, we need to create a date table. Having a date table allows you to create time intelligence formulas. So go to the Design tab, click on the drop down for date table and select New. The dates column contains a unique row for every date in the data set, and these calculated fields were created automatically using DAX formulas. I will now sort the year month by year so it appears in the right order when I create the pivot table. So sort by year. Okay. Now when you update your source data, don't forget to update the date range. Just click this button to refresh the date table, okay? Now switch to diagram view to create a relationship between the calendar table and the data table. Drag date to date. The data hierarchy is not needed here, so I'll just delete it. LTM will remain a disconnected table. I'll connect the table in the formulas, okay? Now let's calculate LTM. Go back to data view. The first measure to calculate is total sales value. Select a cell in the measure grid directly below sales and click Auto Sum. Now change the name to total sales and add the dollar sign. Move over to profit and repeat the same steps. Now I'm going to create a calculated column for the LTM sales. That way the formula is evaluated for each row on a monthly basis without making it a rolling balance. Okay. I'll use the calculate function here. And to make the formula readable, I'll insert line breaks to separate each argument. So press Shift and Enter or Alt and Enter. Tab to indent. Expression is the sum of sales, which has been calculated already. So just insert an opening square bracket and select. Next argument is the filter context. I want total sales to be filtered based on dates that fall within the last 12 months. So I'll use the Datesinperiod function. First argument, date, should refer to the date column in the calendar table. So click to select. Next argument is start date. I want to start from the latest date and go back 12 months. So I'll use the max function to return the latest date in the data. Now, listen closely. If the latest date is 21st of November 2022, last 12 months will be 21st of December 2021. But I don't want to consider mid-month in this analysis. I only want full month. So I'll use the EO month to return the last day of the month for the max date. So EO month, max. The date to be used here is the date in the data table. So close the bracket for max. Number of months to move is 0. So it stays in the same month. Close the bracket for EO month. Next argument, number of intervals, is an integer and it can be positive or negative. In this case, it will be negative because we want to go back 12 months. And for this, I'll use the values function to connect the LTM table to the data table. The values function returns a column of unique values, and in this case, it will return 12, the only value in the table. Lastly, select the interval to shift the date. This is a monthly analysis, so select month. Close the bracket for dates in period. Close the bracket for calculate and enter. Cool. Next, I'll calculate the total. So select the cell below LTM sales and click AutoSum. Change the name to $LTM sales and format. The last measure is percentage margin, and that equals profit divided by LTM sales. I'll use the divide function. Numerator is profit and denominator is LTM sales. Enter. Now format as percentage. Now insert a pivot table. Place it on existing worksheet. Now you can move these tables to the active tab. Drag month and year from the calendar table to rows, total sales and LTM sales to values. Now this is just to show you that LTM sales has been filtered correctly. Now you can remove total sales. Now drag margin to values. We now have values for the last 12 months. When you change the length of period, all you have to do is just right click and refresh and your report gets updated automatically. And now you can go ahead and insert a pivot combo chart using the steps from the previous example. That's all for today. I hope you found the tutorial useful. Please leave a comment, like, and subscribe. Bye. Please subscribe if you haven't, and don't forget to click the like button. Thank you.